The 1.14 release is out, so you're probably wanting to know what are all the things that have been updated in the Village and Pillage update. Hey guys, it's Chad here. We are covering everything that was updated in Minecraft for Minecraft 1.14, the Village and Pillage update. I am gonna leave out some technical things like stuff that's changed with commands and like some of those things. This is basically just everything that has changed in gameplay that normal players that like to log on to servers and play on these single player worlds are gonna care about. So let's jump into the list. We are gonna start off with world generation. What are the things that generate in the world that are different? So we're starting off with this new biome type, which is the bamboo jungle hills, bamboo forest, basically. So this crazy bamboo place that is found in or around the jungles is new and has lots of bamboo for you to get. Oh, that is spooky. I don't know if that's associated with our next world generation. That is the pillager outpost. This is where the these pillagers will spawn in, and it's really the easiest way to find one of the patrol leaders that you need to kill in order to get the bad omen effect. At the top, they have some loot, which will always have a crossbow if you're too lazy to craft one yourself. They can be found in any of the biomes that will also spawn a village. Speaking of villages, they have changed a lot. There are a lot more structures. There are homes, and there are workplaces. So two different types of buildings. So villagers will go sleep in a house and then go to a work site to work. And all of the buildings change based off of the biome that they are that they're found in. This one right here is the taiga biome, and it's pretty spectacular because it actually has the campfires. It's one of the only village types that has the campfires. There is also a new snowy tundra village, and zombie villages are kind of easier to detect now. Zombie villages will look a little bit different, and it'll be pretty obvious that it is an abandoned zombie village. Now let's move from world generation to talking about blocks. And of course, these new worksite and village blocks are really all the crazy stuff in this update. We have a loom that will help you work on banners. We have a barrel that is like a chest, but it can't be expanded to another size. We have the smoker, which will double the speed at which certain food items will be cooked. We have the blast furnace, which will do the same thing with speed, but only to ore. We have the cartography table, which is used for making maps. The fletching table, which is currently not implemented in currently. We have the grindstone, which can repair and disenchant items that are enchanted, giving you back those enchantments. The smithing table is also not implemented. The stonecutter is made for changing all of your stone blocks into stairs and slabs, and makes it awesome so you don't have to remember any of those recipes, and you get a better amount of blocks out from the output than using the normal crafting table. So, you know, like you might lose 3 stairs if you do it in your crafting table, but if you use this, you'd have all of the efficiency of that. The bell, which just rings in the direction that it is on the top, you can change that if you are able to put it onto a block hanging, then it will ring from either direction, but if it's placed onto a block or onto the side of something, it will only swing. You have to make sure to hit it on the right side of its hitbox. It'll only swing on that axis point right there. We have the lantern, which can be placed onto stuff or hung on the bottom of stuff, but can't really be placed on the side of things. It has some really cool sounds, and even as you're walking on it, it has some cool sounds. We have the fire, which the campfire, which can Also, cook meat or cook food if you put it along the side, and those will just pop off once they are cooked. And finally, the lectern, which allows you to place books onto like book and quill books that you've written yourself that have pages that you can look at. You could sign this, or you could just leave it unsigned, place it on, and then you can see what you wrote. And this will work in multiplayer. If you have multiple pages and you flip through, all the players will be able to read whatever page you're on. That is like basically there's only one page that it's ever on. You can't have two people who individually choose which page that you're on. It's server side that everybody has to be looking at the same page. There's a block that I forgot because it's kind of weirdly placed in the creative menu. That is the composter block, or if you have an accent, the composter block. But basically, you take food-like items and or even basically anything that grows, and you can, well, I guess not bamboo. Bamboo is not one of those things that grows. But you can fill up the composter, and then it will give you this little white thing as like a final level, and then you can click it and you'll get bone meal out of it. So it's a way to use up extra living material and then get bone meal out of it, so that you could use that, I guess, cooked chicken? No. Raw chicken? No. It works with bread, I swear. So there's certain items that it can and can't be used with. I showed you the bamboo forest before, but technically this is a new block in Minecraft as it takes up some space. Bamboo is just the entity that you can just stick straight into the ground to grow more. You can bone meal this and it will grow faster, and it grows super duper tall. It works like coarse fruit, and then if you break the bottom bit, it will grow, it will destroy all the blocks above it. Coarse fruit works like this, so does cactuses or sugar cane, any of those where there's some bottom blocks supporting, well, obviously not trees, but some of the new blocks work like that. Bamboos can be used in crafting to make sticks, so you can put two bamboo together to make sticks, or you can put them in this configuration with string in the middle and make scaffolding, which is a new block. There's a lot to say about scaffolding. You can click on the ground and it will go up basically to build height. As you keep clicking there, it'll keep going up and up and up. If you stand in the middle of it and press your jump key, you will rise. If you stop, your feet will land on one of the bases. If there are scaffolding blocks below you and you shift, you will go down the scaffolding blocks. Once you get to a height where you want to start building out, if you place the block, it will, you have to be looking at the block, it will place one out in the direction that you are looking. So I don't actually have to be, at the end of the scaffolding block. Whoa. That was weird. I don't actually have to be at the end of the scaffolding block shifting over the edge to place more. You just kind of have to be close by. This will only extend 6 blocks away from any foundation. So you need structures in order to keep on building with scaffolding. So if you try to build out, get out of here, build out over here, it will fall until it has some support, and then it can go on again, just like this. Scaffolding is an instant break. When you break the bottom ones, all of the ones that are needing support will fall to the ground. So this is a great way to use this type of block around a build, and then you can quickly break it all down by just breaking the foundational blocks, and then you'll get all of your scaffolding back. There are 3 new flowers in the game, and I know it's silly that we're covering this in the block section, but technically these are blocks because they take up an entire block space. They are the cornflower, the lily of the valley, and the wither rose. Cornflower and lily of the valley will spawn naturally in the world. The cornflower is in plains biomes, and the lily of the valley is in forest biomes. Cornflower can be used in your crafting table in order to make light blue dye. I believe it is just blue dye, and then lily of the valley makes white dye. Wither rose can make black dye. Some more facts about the wither rose is if you are in survival and you stand inside of it and you're on any game mode above peaceful, so normal or difficult or hard or anything like that, you will get the wither effect whenever you stand into that wither rose. So you can see I set my game mode or my difficulty to easy, and in survival mode, then you get that wither effect. The only way to get a wither rose is to have a wither attack a mob, and when that mob dies, it will drop the wither rose, or it may plant it in the world. And that's the only way to get one of these roses. All of the flowers can now be made into suspicious stew, which gives you and status effects depending on which flower you use. Like the wither rose would give you a wither status effect, but if you ever look at a suspicious stew in your inventory, there's no way to determine which effect it will give you after you've made it. It just says suspicious stew. There's no indicator of which effect. So you either have to name them in an anvil or make sure to never mix up your suspicious stews. This is not a new block, but it has gotten some updating. The Noteblock has some new instruments. If you use iron, soul sand, pumpkin, emerald, hay, or glowstone with your new Noteblocks, they will make a new sound. That is the iron xylophone for iron. That is the cowbell for soul sand, a didgeridoo for the pumpkin, a bit for the emerald, so like a Game Boy sound, and a banjo for the hay, and then finally a plink for the glowstone. So those are new sounds with the Noteblock. Signs have gotten a huge overhaul in the fact that now you can make signs in all of the various different types of wood. And also now you can dye signs based off of just holding a die in your hand and clicking the sign. Also, when you are typing a sign, you can use your arrow keys now to go back and forth and edit signs a little bit better, which is nice. There are many more building blocks added into the game. So you got lots of new types of slabs and new types of stairs in order for you to build with, including walls. There's a lot of new walls that are in the decoration block area. So you got in-stone walls and andesite walls and things like that. So lots of new building blocks with lots of new block types. And that's a really, really nice thing, because now you could take something like quartz and put it into the stonecutter and have access to all of these various different looks, which is like super duper awesome. The final block to be added to the game is these sweet berry bushes. You can get the sweet berries by just right-clicking on a sweet berry bush. You can plant a new bush just by right-clicking those berries on the ground. They have multiple different stages of growth. So this is the first stage, second stage, third stage will have berries, and so will the fourth stage. It will also have berries. Whenever a player walks into these bushes, they are slowed down. You can't really jump in these. If you are in survival mode, these bushes will hurt you. The first stage will not. It'll just slow you down. But any of the other stages will hurt. There we go. There's like a little bit of lag there. If you walk through them. But if you walk in and just like don't move, you'll be fine. It's just when you actually start to move around within them, it's like it pricks you or something. Ouch, don't kill me. These bushes can be found in all taiga variants, although they are found more rarely in the snowy taiga variants. There are not many new items added into the game, and I'm talking about items that when you throw them on the ground, they don't change, like blocks. Like if I was to throw this, obviously if I throw this on the ground, it's just that. But what I mean is I could place it in the world. So that's why that is considered a block. So items include things like the new banner patterns. So way down here in miscellaneous, we got all of these new banner patterns, which are used in the loom, and things like leather horse armor. That is new. Leather horse armor works like normal leather armor, and that you can dye it, but now it'll fit on a horse. There is Suspicious Stew, which I mentioned earlier, and also the new crossbow, which is a really nice item that you pull back, load, then it is loaded with your arrow and will fire after you click it a second time. So you can basically click and hold, then let go and move it around, and then once you click another time, then it will fire immediately. The crossbow also has some specific enchants, including piercing, quick charge, multi-shot. Those are the 3 enchants specific to the crossbow. Multi-shot will fire a 3 arrow attack, so it'll fire 1 going straight ahead and 2 off to the side. Quick charge is how quickly you will reload your crossbow. And then piercing is it going through mobs. So piercing 1 will pass through 1 mob and then hit the mob behind it, and then all the way up to piercing 4, which will pierce through 4 levels of mobs. Piercing and multi-shot cannot be added onto the same crossbow, just like mending and infinity cannot be placed on a normal bow. And finally, every color that has ever been in the game now has a dye. So if you're used to cocoa beans being your brown dye, well, now there's actually a specific brown dye. Same thing with lapis. Now there's blue dye. Ink sacks have black dye, bone meal have white dye. It's very simple. All you have to do is throw them in the crafting table, and then they will convert into the correct dye. They don't convert back, so I can't convert blue dye back into lapis. I can only convert lapis into blue dye. But you'll notice that any recipe that has called for dye will no longer take the old items. So if you try to make something brown, for instance, and use cocoa beans, it's not going to work anymore. You have to convert your cocoa beans to brown dye and then use it as dye. Now let's talk about the new mobs in the game. And I'm gonna only cover these just a little bit because there's so much information about them. I have videos about all of these, like pandas and foxes, but foxes are a new mob in the game. They are tameable, only that they will not be afraid of the player. They will not follow you like a normal horse. They attack tons of different animals. They have tons of different sounds, and there's 2 different variants. There is the red variant and the Arctic variant, which is like a white variant. They sleep during the day underneath a block. So if there's a block that is stopping the sky from hitting the block below it, they will sleep underneath that. They can eat sweet berries and be bred with sweet berries, but they will eat lots of different things, and they hold items in their mouths, including a totem of undying. And if you kill a fox with a totem of undying in its mouth, it will not die, and the totem of undying will work. They drop nothing when they die, and their enemy is the wolves. So if you see a big wolf, and it sees a fox, then it will try to attack and kill a fox. Next are cats. Cats and ocelots are now 2 separate creatures. If you try to tame an ocelot and make it into a cat, sorry, you will be out of luck. They now spawn in villages as stray cats, and you can use the same technique that you used to tame ocelots to tame a cat. They have some new skins, one of them being the community skin, which was explained during Minecon Earth. The cats will now scare off phantoms, and when you kill one, it will drop a little bit of string. Whenever you tame a cat, you can now dye its collar like you've been able to do with dogs. So you can have dyed collars on cats. Whenever you try to sleep, it has to be night, obviously, the cat will sleep with you. So there he is on my belly, and he may lay down sideways and try it like he's doing here. He may actually lay down sideways with you while you are sleeping. Cats can also scavenge for things throughout the night. If you have a tame cat, it may bring you little treasures when you wake up. Next is pandas. Shown off at Minecon Earth, they are now in the game. Pandas have a whole bunch of different varieties of panda. So you'll have a normal panda, a playful panda, a aggressive panda, a lazy panda, a weak, a worried. Panda, so all different types of pandas. You can tell based off of their face details which panda is which. Like this one over here, I believe is a playful panda. Playful pandas will like roll around on the ground a little bit more. Aggressive pandas may try to attack the player, and all sorts of different things like that. Panda babies will also have all of these traits, and sometimes they sneeze, which spooks the other pandas. Pandas can be bred, and their traits will carry on to their offspring, and they do that with bamboo, and they will eat bamboo, and if there happens to be bamboo items laying on the ground, they'll go over and pick those up and try to eat those as well. So he just picked up that little bit of bamboo, and there he goes eating it. Just gosh darn adorable. Obviously, a bamboo is required for them to spawn, so they're going to be found in these bamboo jungles and jungle areas. The next two mobs that we're going to be talking about is the wandering trader and the wandering trader llama. When these spawn naturally in the world, I had to summon them in, they will be linked with a lead, and there may or may not be more llamas also in that chain that the wandering trader is carrying. The wandering trader has rare trades, and they're only ever going to be emerald to an item. Other villagers may have an item into emeralds, like say these sticks into an emerald. Wandering traders will never have that. It'll always be emeralds into some type of item. So the conditions to get a wandering trader to spawn are this. I'm going to just read this one straight off of the wiki. After one in-game day, the game will begin to attempt to spawn a wandering trader once per in-game day. The spawn attempt chance increases with each failed attempt. So initially, you'll start off with a 2.5% attempt, then 5%, then finally it will cap out at 7.5%. So basically, once a day, your game, especially if you've lasted a few days, your game will give you a 7.5% chance of spawning a wandering trader, and they will probably go from one location to another and then stay there. They will despawn after 40 in-game minutes, and then they are gone forever. If you use up these trades, they are also gone forever. At night, the wandering trader will drink a potion of invisibility to hide from the evil mobs. Now, the trader llama has a very unique, basically carpet on its back. They can be tamed just like a normal llama would, but that carpet is unique to the wandering trader llama. So I just put a carpet onto this wandering trader llama, but when I take it off, it still has that unique carpet attached to it by default. Finally, let's talk about what this update is named after. That is the Village and Pillage update. So we'll talk about raids, which is kind of like the pillage sort of aspect of the game. And also we're going to cover the last of the mobs in that as well. So there's a new game mechanic which includes raids. And the idea is that it's going to be multiple waves of enemies trying to attack a village. And if if a certain amount of villagers die, then the raid is successful, and you have lost, and you haven't really defended